Good morning. My name is Carl Sonnen, and I'm Secretary on the Board of Directors. We have quite a few announcements this morning. A reminder that Mustafa Mia, the owner of Mia's restaurant just down the street, is having a lot of issues because of the construction. We'll remind you that Mustafa is the son of Samsur Mia, to whom we provided sanctuary many years ago. Please consider dining at his restaurant or ordering takeout. The Mias are part of our community, and we want to see them succeed. Our fall congregational meeting will take place on Sunday, October 27th, following the service and hospitality hour. Please plan on participating in this important part of our life as a congregation. The key part of this meeting will be to discuss our proposed budget. This evening, Child Haven is holding its Ottawa Fall Gala, starting at 5 p.m. at Richelieu Vanier Community Centre, 300 des Pierre Blanc Avenue. If you would enjoy an evening with excellent South Asian cuisine in support of a great cause, please plan to attend. Tickets are $75 and can be ordered at childhaven.ca or by talking with our president, Chuck Shields, following the service. A reminder that Adult Learning and Growth Team to register soon for map making, navigating your spiritual journey at FirstU, a program geared to new and newish members at FirstU and our journey groups. We strongly encourage you to check them out. They are great ways to connect with others and to explore and deepen your own personal spirituality. You can register by emailing adultlearning@firstunitarianottawa.ca or in the blue registration book at the back of Worship Hall. All are invited to participate in the Ajashki Learning Center's closing of the gardens and unveiling of the new Inuit mural ceremony on October 10th from 1 to 3 p.m. There will be performances by Inuit youth and Inuit-themed nibbles, and the event will take place here at the congregation. And now I'd like to invite Mike Fletcher and Donna Bowen-Willer to the podium for an exciting announcement from the Environmental Working Group.
Good morning. So the announcement is that after many years of work, our congregation, all of us, have received Green Sanctuary certification. So congratulations to everybody who did this. And we have 2 minutes, Donna, to whip through this and
or
try...
Or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, or less. To try and say everything we did. Over to you. Oh, to tell what we've done. Here we go. We've used bullfrog power to heat the church.
And we got the heat pump installed in Fellowship Hall, thanks to Mike.
We got agreement to move beyond diverting our church funds away from fossil fuels and into green energy.
And we've advocated for change with letter writing campaigns, petition signings, attending rallies.
Absolutely. We encourage you to take action through weekly announcements, EUU notices, Spire articles, climate action page on FirstU's website. We were busy. Remember the green belt? Okay, we didn't do that ourselves, but I think we helped.
And we had our monthly Earth Speaks presentations, both virtual and people present.
We showed you how you could reduce your carbon emissions, get off plastics with a campaign, and reduce your carbon footprint in your food.
We had a photo voice and storytelling project and a Hope to Action workshop to help fend off climate despair.
We had a chalice group on the famous book, Braiding Sweetgrass.
We fought to ensure our new development will be as environmentally sustainable as possible.
We have Ajashki, our Indigenous-led food security project, which has impacted the lives of Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth. Thank you to Sharon and other volunteers for countless hours you have spent making Ajaski the success that this congregation is known for.
And we had our grand finale, the Earth is Tired concert with Isla. It was a beautiful tribute to climate despair and hope. And that's just a snapshot of what happened.
That's right. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Sherry Watson, who spurred so much of our action, a great organizer. We very much miss her. We're not done. We won't be done until FirstU is a net zero emissions and the climate crisis is solved.
So we're having a little bit of celebration afterwards. Join us to have some cake and as we work together to save our planet. Thank you.
We're going to begin with some singing, O River by Mamuse. We'll start with the Finding My Way section. Once we've done it once, you should feel free, if you feel so inclined or moved, to add some harmonies on top. That would be lovely. And then I'll add the O River section on top. You can also feel free to join in with that. So we'll start here. Finding my way, finding my way, finding my way, finding my way. Who will I be when I reach the sea? Oh, river, I hear you, feel you calling me. Oh, river, who will I be when I reach the sea? Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. I can remember how to turn this thing on. There we go. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome everyone to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa, whether you are here in Worship Hall or watching from wherever you may be, know that you are welcome. I'm the Reverend Eric Meter, the congregation's lead minister, and while I feel like I've talked to half of you since the spam email went out on Friday afternoon, it's great talking with so many of you. Please don't be taken by people who, well, they're trying to find their way too. It's just their means are really annoying to the rest of us. As a good universalist, I shouldn't say so, but I am willing to do my effort to carve out a new plane of hell that will be required to house all these souls when their day on this planet is done. Mary, I think I better stop my rant and let you get a word in edgewise.
Whatever. I'm Mary, your worship associate this morning. We acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory, and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those that have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and to advocate for justice. Now let's join our voices in song once more. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together, Building Bridges, number 1023 in our teal hymnal, and the lyrics will be on the screen above.
Before we begin this one, I'll mention we're going to do it as a round. We'll do it once through all together, and then we have some fusion members who are at the front here, and if you'd like, you can follow, pick someone in front of you who looks particularly compelling, and you can follow them and sing what they sing. So here we go.
As health challenges continue, do take care and take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch. If you are new to FirstU and would like to learn more about us, please contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. And if you are right here in Worship Hall with us this morning and would like more information about FirstU, it is available at the welcome table at the back of the pews, and Lisa is there waving at us. And I see a number of you have badges, temporary badges, so we're glad to see you've been to see Lisa and we can identify you. We encourage you to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter. Sign-up information is available on our website under the Communications tab and as a QR code on the back of our printed programs. Check our Facebook and Instagram pages and our website for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be as full as ever, though some of our activities take place online. This morning, each of us is welcome. We of any heritage or faith, whatever our burdens, of any culture or race, of any gender or orientation, in any body, all that we are, today we are all a part of the spiritual community. Welcome.
Thank you, Mary. I light our chalice this morning to these words of welcome by my colleague David Breeden. We gather into this circle of care, to dream, to envision, to embody and achieve the compassion we dream, the justice we envision, the dignity of each in an ever-growing circle of love and justice. Our chalice is lit. Come, let us worship together as we begin by singing our chalice song. Jen? Jody, do you have another story for us? Yay.
I sure do. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jody McIntosh, the Director of Religious Exploration, and I invite anyone young or young at heart who would like to join me here at the front for the story. So in honor of Truth and Reconciliation Day, we have a special story called The Sharing Circle, and it's written by Teresa Corky Larson Joe Jonasson. Morning Star and River were two funny foxes who were the best of friends. They lived with the skunk, rabbits, deer, badger, and buffalo on the Great Plains when the grasslands stretched out for miles under a never-ending sky. Every day, Morningstar, River, and their friends played together in the grass. They hunted for bugs, swam in the creek, and lay on their backs looking for shapes in the clouds. When the sun began to set, they all raced home to their cozy beds. But one day, while the animals splashed in the creek, River gave Morningstar a playful shove. Morningstar lost her footing and fell. She was so angry that she growled at River. They had a terrible fight, told each other, "I don't want to be your friend anymore," and crept back to their homes with hurt feelings. The next day, the two foxes refused to talk to each other. It made everyone sad to see their friends fighting, and without their funny playmates, none of the other animals wanted to play together. Everyone gossiped about the argument and began to pick sides. When one of the older buffaloes heard about it, she knew that something must be done. She took a braid of sweetgrass as a gift to a great horned owl called Kokum. The wise and mighty Kokum always knew how to solve problems, and she listened as the kind buffalo told her story. "It is time we held a sharing circle," she said. So the buffalo and the owl went down to the creek, and all the animals gathered together to make one big circle. "Many things we need for a good life are like a circle," said Kokum the owl. "Water is one of them. What can you tell me about the water cycle?" "There's water in the lakes and big oceans," said a smart young badger, "which evaporates and turns into clouds, and then the clouds make rain, and the rain shares itself with people, animals, and trees. It travels into streams and creeks and makes its way back to the lakes and the big oceans." "Well done," said Kokum. "We need the circle of water to live. It is a sacred circle. When something happens that may harm our community, we come together and form our own sacred circle. We call it a sharing circle." "Why don't you tell everyone why we're here today?" Kokum asked the buffalo woman. "Morningstar and River have been arguing, and everyone has hurt feelings," said the buffalo. "Today we're going to share those feelings and talk about what happened." The owl nodded. "That's right. Everyone has a place in the circle, and everyone should feel safe and respected in it. You can share by talking about your feelings, offering suggestions, or talking about how we can help. But you don't have to speak unless you want to." The animals passed around a talking stick to their left in the direction that the sun travels. The foxes, the skunk, the rabbits, the deer, the badger, and the buffalo took it in turns to hold the stick and speak. Some of them talked about their feelings, and some of them didn't, but they all felt part of the sharing circle. "I wanted to help, but Morningstar told me to leave her alone," said a young skunk named Smokey. "I tried to say sorry, but River wouldn't listen to me," said Morningstar. "You called me bad names," said River, with tears in his eyes. One of the rabbits started whispering to her friend, who stretched her front legs and looked around her as if she wanted to leave the circle. Kokum saw this and spread out a large wing to get their attention. "My girls," said Kokum, "you can share your feelings when you hold the talking stick, but now you must sit still and listen. A sharing circle is a place of listening and respect. We need to be quiet until it's our turn and we are holding the stick. This time helps us listen, understand, and often see things in a different way." The animals passed the talking stick around the circle a few more times, and even the quiet deer, who were shy in the beginning, became brave, and they saw how fast it was to share their feelings. The more the animals talked, the more they came to understand that the argument was all just a big misunderstanding. "We should have listened to each other and respected one another," said River. Morningstar agreed, And the two foxes were very happy to be friends again, and so were all of the other animals. You see, young ones, ever since we have lived in this land, ever since the water has flowed, we have always respected each other. Every animal has a duty to care for another, and everyone has a job to do or a gift to share, said Kokum. Will we ever hold a sharing circle again? Said Smokey the skunk. Of course, said Kokum. Sharing circles can be used in many different ways. The teachings of the circle have been practiced for a long time, and if we continue to respect the teachings, they always will. The animals all thanked Kokum and the gentle old buffalo woman for bringing them all together. Then they ran down to the creek to play and swim together beneath the enormous sky. The end. And if you enjoyed this book, there is one copy of it at our book table, and you can have a look at our book table during fellowship hour. We will now sing Our Children on Their Way. If you would make an arch for them down this aisle for them to go under. Thank you.
Sermons that inspire us, we got pebbles in the bowl, we got friends that keep us grounded, we got music for the soul, we got coffee in the morning and a garden we can stroll. What ain't we got, you know darn well. You're looking for your pledge, got some bills to pay. Let us know what you can pledge, and our plans will be underway. Before the kiddies room to play outside, and then we got dance and meditation, breakfast meetings for the men. There are goings almost every day, we help each other grow. What do we need? Why now you know. We are looking for your pledge, got some bills to pay. Let us know what you can pledge, and our plans will be underway. We got volunteers and visitors and principles to share. We supported refugees and tried to show the world we care. We've connected with First Peoples, want to keep the good work strong. How can you help? Now hear this song. We are looking for your pledge, got some bills to pay. Let us know what you can pledge, and our plans will be underway. There is nothing that you can find that soothes the treasure
Well, the big day is here. You've been waiting all year for this. It's the start of the annual pledge drive. For those who are new, once a year, we ask for a pledge for next year. A pledge given this fall is a promise to donate in 2025. I won't be long. Those of you on our mailing list got an email from me on Thursday. I won't repeat all that. If you're not on the mailing list and would like to be, talk to me or someone at the welcome table. I'll send my message to you. Who doesn't enjoy being asked for money? Pledges are important, our largest single source of income. Other income comes from rentals, fundraising efforts like the Fall Fair, and our investments. But pledges are the key to allowing us to continue offering our programs and living our values. If you're new and not sure how much to give, you can find guidance on the website. In round numbers, about a quarter of our pledges are less than $500 a year, and another quarter are over $2,000. Not everyone is in the same economic situation. Some are struggling, and we understand that. You don't have to pledge to be a member, and you don't have to be a member to pledge. All are welcome. Our target is 210 pledges and $327,000. Please do your best, and I'm happy to talk if you want. Already, we have over 100,000 pledged. Hurry, and you can have one of the early bird gummy worms on the welcome table at the back. The early bird gets the worm. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't really know how to follow that. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, singers. The truth is that each week during our time together, we pause in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our lives and across the globe. And this year, this week, I've been reminded how much the backdrop of a no-confidence vote just a couple miles from here, hurricanes and subsequent flooding. I learned this morning that one of my retired colleagues was missing and then found in Asheville, North Carolina. And we also have news of increasing IDF attacks in Lebanon. There is much to be concerned about in our world, and still we live our lives with our own joys and sorrows and challenges. We honor these events in our lives by placing stones in small bowls of water. As the ripples extend outward, we imagining those ripples continuing out beyond the small bowls, out through and past our pews, out into the larger world, the community of all. Let me ask you now to come forward if you have a stone to place in water this morning. The last stone I dropped, as always, represents all that remains in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. There are no carrying cards today, so let us move forward now into a time of stillness and reflection. After several moments, we'll come back together through the gift of music. Orange Shirt Sunday. Mary, I'm going to tell them about our little text conversation on Friday. On Friday afternoon, after someone appearing to be me sent emails out to everyone asking for Apple gift cards, just to go on the record, gift cards are an effective way of giving help to those who need it. But when we use those, I buy them, and the church's benevolence fund reimburses me. I'm never going to ask you for a gift card, except maybe at Christmas time. On Friday afternoon, wanting to make sure she knew what the plan was for this morning, Mary texted me to say, "Was that email from you? And by the way, are you wearing an orange shirt on Sunday?" Of course, I had forgotten about the orange shirt part, but I didn't admit to that. And I said, why, yes, of course. And then I chuckled because it sounded a little bit like we were back in grade school. And in grade school, no pretty woman would have asked me what I was going to wear. This was really an improvement. I was glad, so thank you, Mary. Now, last year on Orange Shirt Sunday, members of TI, Tungasumrat, I'm sure I'm murdering that pronunciation. I've been working on it. It's harder in person. TI, our indigenous group, our Inuit group here in Ottawa. Members of that group, their leadership and staff were with us talking about their work for their community here down south in Ottawa. Since then, that group has held regular meetings here, knitting groups, and a series of elder lunches of country food. I learned a new phrase. And the year before that, the Orange Shirt Sunday, the year before that, Dr. Don Harvard and Justin Marchand from the Ontario Aboriginal Housing Services were with us to talk about that organization's work. And as an aside, I want to point out that we are very close to finalizing a legal agreement with OAHS that will deed some of our property to them. Soon, friends, soon. We're about to make history. Returning to my list of topics, on this day in years past, on my first year with you, we asked Arlene Roberts to record a message for us all. We were still worshiping remotely then. Arlene is a member of the Nisga'a Nation and worked for the Indian Residential School Survivors Society. I've learned a great deal from each of these guests, and I'm grateful for the opportunities to know more about the history of what has taken place and even begin with them to explore the possibilities before us. All of this is prelude and reminds me of an experience that I had in seminary as part, ironically enough, of a class project. The course was in Unitarian Universalist history, and the project I chose was to create an oral history of those involved in what became known as the empowerment controversy, though disempowerment controversy I've always felt is a more apt name. While I was born into this faith, this was something I had not ever heard of, and I wanted to correct that omission briefly, and this is very much in brief. In 1967, Black Unitarian Universalists asked the new, still only 6 years old, Unitarian Universalist Association for substantial funding to support community projects in Black communities across the continent. In May of '68, at the denomination's General Assembly, the proposal to fund Black determination projects at the level of $1 million over 4 years was passed by the delegates of our denomination. It was then one denomination, Canada and the US both, was passed 836 to 327. Then, the next year, in July of '69, when the denomination hosted its annual General Assembly in Boston, it was not clear if we could afford to fund all that had been promised. And when that was clear, half the delegates walked out of the convention hall. The denomination, it seemed to many, was in danger of splitting in two. I hadn't known about this as a young person growing up in this faith, so I took the opportunity to talk to people. Seminary was in Berkeley, California. I was talking to people throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, people who had been players back then. And one, a woman named Betty Reed Soskin, said something slightly off topic that has stayed with me ever since. It was mid to late autumn when she invited me to sit down with her at her kitchen table. The week before, she told me she had received what had become an annual phone call. Someone from her former congregation's worship team would call her in November and ask if she, as a black woman, would talk at the congregation's annual Martin Luther King Jr. service that January. This year, she told me, I'm paraphrasing her here, I found myself for the first time begging for time. She continued, while I'm not used to saying no to them, the truth is that I want them to see what it means not to have a black person with them on Martin Luther King Jr. Sunday. So what is it like not to have an indigenous person with us on this orange shirt Sunday? Our music director, Jen, and I were talking about what music we might choose for this day. It's a difficult thing. As beautiful as indigenous music is, it doesn't lend itself necessarily to be sung in a gathering like this. I am sure I'm selling a lot of good music short, but in general, it's hard to find pieces that seem to work and that seem, and I'm going to go on a limb here, this is a word we just touched on. I don't want to appropriate another person's culture without really understanding that culture. It feels a little bit like, oh, it's Orange Shirt Sunday, we're going to plug some stuff in and it will be good. That's not the best way forward. It really isn't. Let me share a couple of words from Betty Reed Soskin. Now, this was over 30 years ago, and this is in the context of the West Coast south of our border. And she kept her membership, but she had not been active in her congregation, Unitarian Universalist congregation there for some time. She said to me, I want the church not to worry about my not being at church. I'm saying me and talking about black folks. I don't worry about not having enough bodies in the church to make it look bright. That's not the agenda anymore. Now we've got the job of building self-esteem, pride, and educating. She's talking about within her African American community. All the stuff that needs doing, she continued. What you can do is deal with the forces in the white community that slow that process down. She continued, the most valuable thing I learned as a Unitarian was to risk and to dare failure, to model what I want to get back. It's living out my religious convictions. Now, I'm wearing the brightest shirt I have, and I often say this room needs more color. I think we've got it today. But wearing an orange shirt this time of year, and there are great phrases on your shirts. Phil and Ann, in addition to creating that wonderful song for us before, I love on your shirts it says, ask me how to promote reconciliation. The orange shirt is just the tip of the iceberg. I often, I'm going to admit it, when I get cynical, I often think, oh, I can feel good, I'm wearing the orange shirt, it's okay. No, it's not okay. The orange shirt is a pledge to say, I take reconciliation seriously. And reconciliation, as I understand it at least, requires relationship. We have to be willing to reach out beyond our little bubbles. And I live in a pretty tight bubble, I will admit that. But we have to reach out beyond who we normally may associate with, for people who have different backgrounds. That's the only way the world feels enlarged and we feel we're actually truly citizens and members of a world community is to reach out past what we may think of as easy divisions. A couple weeks ago, I spent an hour on a FaceTime call with an Indigenous woman a little older than me. She lives in subsidized housing and is concerned about keeping her apartment. So she asked for one of the building managers to meet with her, and she had me on FaceTime as a witness to the call, because she found that it is better to have a white person present, even remotely, during conversations like that. That was an easy hour to give. That was not difficult. It was easy to do. So today, as we wear orange shirts, t-shirts or not, I would ask, not only what our treasurer and singers asked before about making a pledge, I would ask each of us to ask, what is the pledge an orange shirt might mean for us today? What are we willing to do to learn to make reconciliation real for ourselves and others who have lived here far longer than we? Thank you. Thank you.
Our anthem this morning is The Gift by Russell Wallace. Russell Wallace is an award-winning composer, a traditional singer, and writer from the Lil'wat First Nation. His music can be heard on film soundtracks, in theater and dance productions around Canada and the States, and he has many works of poetry, short fiction, theater, and music theater that have been published. The words to this piece are vocables, so they're sung syllables used to evoke a mood or tell a story or give an overall meaning to the text that are not in a specific language or that are not referential words. And in this piece, the story is one of arriving at a gathering, a celebration, and coming bearing gifts for the celebration.
I don't quite know what to say, so I don't think I'll say anything. Anyway, welcome back. Will our ushers please start passing the baskets at this time? Thank you. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you are here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are part of this community. We rely on one another to keep this congregation vital and resilient. If you have any questions about how you can give, please go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. And now, let us sing together once more. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing Wo Ya Ya, which you'll find as number 1020 in our teal hymnal. The words will be up on the screen.
Please sit down. Sorry. Before we begin to close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that coffee hour will begin in Fellowship Hall immediately after the service. As Andana and Mike said, there's going to be cake. Leafy greens, courtesy of the good folks of Ajaski, are available to anyone who would like some from the grow towers in the room next to Fellowship Hall, as are food and household items from our grocery support program. If you're new here, still feel new, or simply welcome a really good conversation this afternoon, please pick up a green mug as you enter Fellowship Hall. Doing so will help others looking forward to a good conversation find you. And if you see someone sporting a green mug, go up and say hi. Ask them about who they are and what drew them here this morning. And you'll start another wonderful conversation. Now, as we prepare to extinguish our chalice, may these words from Elena Westbrook be our guide. Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long, and we can help bend it towards justice. Go in courage, For together we have the strength to confront injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we transform ours and others' lives. Let us sing our closing song now, Spirit of Life, first in English and then en français.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Flow with the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots holding close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Source de vie, jaillit en moi, insufflant mon cœur des élans de compassion. Chante dans le vent, danse avec la mer, anime la main qui façonne la justice. Terre dis-moi, ciel emporte-moi, source de vie, éveille-moi, éveille-moi.
As we return now to the challenge and the joy of helping the world come alive in love, let us go with hope in our hands and peace in our steps. Go in peace, my friends. Go in peace.